Hello there, Star Wars toy fans. This is Jim, and thanks again for taking the time to stop by my channel. Well, the focus of today's video, this would be part 6 of the comparison of the vintage Kenner X-Wing mold. This is the 1995 Power of the Force 2 electronic X-Wing. And from this point forward, I will use this as the base model for future videos instead of my childhood X-Wing. When the Power of the Force came out in 1995, it was a huge hit amongst collectors like myself, and especially the next generation, who were now gearing up, getting ready for the anniversary editions of both Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and also the upcoming Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So Hasbro began producing, still under the name of Kenner, began producing a new line of action figures that, sadly to say, were very disappointing. Some were really cool looking, but they were all beefed up to make them look like He-Man, which none of the characters in any of the movies really looked like that. They were more normally built like you and I. And then they came out with a re-release of some of the vintage Kenner molds. So the vintage molds that came out that year were the Millennium Falcon, the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, and then the Landspeeder. They had an updated paint job, updated stickers, some different electronics, and some with no electronics, like as in the case of the TIE Fighter. So the Power of the Force 2 line, the X-Wing, is what we're going to take a look at today, and how that differs from the 1978 version. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the box art. So here is the box, and I will have to admit that I did not pick this ship up in 1995 because I already had an X-Wing. And I thought, why do I need another one? It just takes up space. And then I managed to find one a couple of years ago at a local knick-knack store in my hometown for $5, and it was one that I had to repair, and you'll see a custom video on that. And once I got it repaired, I absolutely loved it, so I ended up picking the box up and the instructions separately along with another ship that was in much better shape. So the box here, you'll see there's the end cap, which they're pretty much the same on both sides, and then the back side shows you all the features that are typical with the X-Wing, in addition to some of the ships that were produced that same year. Now compare that with the 1978 box, and you'll see it's pretty much the same size. Size for size. So really no difference there. Let's take a look at the instructions. So here's the front side of the instruction sheet, and it shows you where to put on all the stickers, and there are a lot more stickers than are on the 1978 version. Then the back side shows you the various features. So you put on the guns, canopy goes up and down. Instead of using a coin like they had in the 1978 instructions, you use a screwdriver to pry it open. Put in the batteries, positive, negative, gives you a little warning label about leakage. Isn't that the truth, looking at older ships? Now, this is one of the major differences between this and the 1978 version, is you press R2 down, now he makes an engine noise. And then there's a little button under the ships to simulate the gun turrets. It also happened to come with a blueprint, and you'll see there you got all four. You have a 4 view of the X-Wing. Gives you some stats on the bottom. The back side, just an advertisement. Also, what came with the ship were the blueprints. So you'll see here, we give you a 4 view of it, some description of each of the parts, size, and more specifics. On the flip side, it's just an advertisement for Xanark Publishing. Alrighty, well, here are the two X-Wings, the 1978, my childhood one, and then the 1995 Tonka release. So you'll see some just visual differences. This one's has some weathering on it. The plastic's in a gray instead of white. Canopy is smoky, just like the 1982 battle damage version. R2 is a different color. We have more of a turquoise and a much deeper blue there. The battery pack is opened the same silly way. You have to use a screwdriver. Pry that open. It does look a little bit different here because we don't have the push button. So now we have just regular, normal battery terminals. The wings do open and close the same way. And you'll notice now it makes noise, which is a neat feature, I think. Of course, visually, you'll see that there are all sorts of different stickers. This was Red 3, which really was Big's Darklighter ship. And here we have Luke's actual ship, Red 5. The guns are different, gray color. Flip it over, and you'll see we have different color nose gear. Different set of screws. This one actually has a washer in it, and that one does not. Of course, there's a little button here, and this activates the guns. Now, in the back, you'll see that there's holes there because that's where the speaker is, so that things can be easily heard. We can compare the back side. You'll see that's just solid plastic. So really, set the same exact mold, just with holes in it. It's punched in. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. So if you're into variations, this is one to add to your collection. Oh, also, I guess kind of the obvious thing too, the nose. We do have a separate nose cone, but there is no nose light, so they sealed over that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in part 7 for the 2004 Hasbro X-Wing release.